Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are setting the stage for an incredible, super high-energy breakdown of the United States men's national team and their utterly dominant opening match. I mean, if you love seeing a team come out of the gates just firing on all cylinders, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to unpack exactly how the USMNT took total control of the pitch, combining tactical brilliance with raw offensive power to secure a victory that people are going to be talking about for a very, very long time.
96. I want that number to really sink in for a second. It has been exactly 96 years since the U.S. men's national team set the World Cup record that they literally just tied. I mean, no way, right? This isn't just a great start to a tournament run, it's a literal echo of history playing out right in front of us. We are watching a generational performance, and over the next few minutes, we're going to dissect exactly how they pulled off an achievement nearly a century in the making.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, a dominant opening match. We've got Group D action kicking off at SoFi Stadium.
Okay, let's dive into this. The atmosphere for this match was absolutely electric. Picture it, a massive, roaring crowd packed into SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Stepping onto that pitch with tens of thousands of fans expecting a show is immense pressure, but as you'll see, the USMNT absolutely thrived on it. To really understand this match, we kind of have to look at it as a tale of two very different halves. First up, we have the first half blitz. This was just flawless execution, building a commanding 3-0 lead driven by a total masterclass in offensive football from Christian Pulisic. But then, we have the second half seal. It's a completely different narrative here. The US used their early cushion to rest key starters, Paraguay inevitably pushed back to create some serious tension, and it ultimately required a massive stoppage time dagger from Reina to definitively seal the deal. It's this wild contrast between an overwhelming offensive explosion and gritty determination that makes this match so incredibly fascinating.
Moving on to Section 2, the first half blitz, a truly flawless 45 minutes.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the momentum shifted throughout the game. From the opening whistle, the American squad came out incredibly hungry. They didn't let Paraguay breathe for a second, dictating the pace, controlling the ball, and relentlessly pressing forward. Just 6 minutes in, the U.S. forced an own goal from Paraguay's Damian Bobadilla. I mean, talk about setting the tone immediately. Then, right at the 30-minute mark, Folarin Balogun strikes to double the lead. And right before the whistle blows for halftime, in the 45th minute plus stoppage time, Balogun strikes again. Boom. 3-0. It's an absolute mountain decline for Paraguay at that point. Now, scanning down to the 72nd minute, Paraguay's Mauricio actually does manage to find the net, definitely keeping U.S. fans a little bit on the edge of their seats. But then, in the dying moments of the game, at 90 plus 7 minutes, Giovanni Reina delivers that final, crucial strike.
We absolutely have to spend a second on Folarin Balogun's brilliance here. He was the absolute spearhead of a remarkably clinical American frontline. You know, when you need someone to actually convert all that pressure into points on the scoreboard, Balogun is your guy. Finding the back of the net not once, but twice in a single half, that's phenomenal. That 30th minute strike established undeniable dominance for sure, but it was that second goal, netted incredibly late in first half stoppage time, that just completely broke Paraguay's spirit before they even hit the locker room. It's the kind of performance that puts the entire tournament on notice.
Next up is Section 3, Pulisic's 45-minute masterclass, cutting through the defense. Now, what's really interesting about this is that while Balogun was the finisher, the real maestro orchestrating this whole offensive symphony was Christian Pulisic. His role in establishing this massive winning cushion was nothing short of pivotal. You simply cannot build a 3-0 halftime lead against international competition without someone turning the opponent's defensive structures into Swiss cheese. Pulisic put on a truly masterful 45-minute display, repeatedly causing absolute chaos and creating the opportunities that blew this game wide open. But the key takeaway here is actually those last two words, before resting. Because he and the front line were so overwhelmingly effective early on, it gave the coaching staff the incredible luxury of resting him in the second half. That is absolutely crucial tournament management right there. Winning the game early so you can save the legs of your star players for the long haul.
Which brings us to Section 4, sealing the victory, overcoming Paraguay's late push.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the second half required a completely different mentality. Paraguay wasn't just going to roll over, right? And with some key American starters resting on the bench, the U.S. had to dig deep and weather the storm. We can see the major turning points lined up perfectly here. We've got our 3 first-half U.S. goals up top, but look closely at those bottom 2 events. At the 72nd minute, Mauricio finally breaks through for Paraguay. Suddenly, it's 3-1. The crowd gets a bit tense, the momentum shifts slightly, and Paraguay is visibly energized. The U.S. defense has to hold the line for 20 agonizingly long minutes. And they do. But they don't just survive, they counter. Substitute Giovanni Reyna comes off the bench, and in the 7th minute of second-half injury time, 90+7, he scores. It's the ultimate dagger that formally and definitively seals this 41 victory.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, tying a 96-year record, the historical frame. So, the crucial point here is the number 3. Winning an opening match 4-1 is fantastic in its own right, obviously, but the immense historical weight of this victory elevates it from a great game to a truly legendary milestone. A 4-1 scoreline logically equates to a massive, decisive 3-goal margin. In the modern era of highly competitive, deeply tactical international football, establishing a 3-goal margin of victory against a squad like Paraguay is incredibly difficult to pull off. It requires a perfect storm of offensive efficiency and unwavering defensive resilience.
But what does that 3-goal margin actually mean for the record books? Well, it is the United States' joint biggest margin of victory ever recorded in a World Cup tournament. They have officially matched a record of 3-goal triumphs that has stood completely untouched for nearly a century, dating all the way back to the inaugural 1930 edition of the tournament. The players on that pitch weren't just securing 3 vital points for Group D, they were writing their names directly alongside the very pioneers of American soccer. That is the massive takeaway here, the sheer historic magnitude of this dominance.
So, what does this all mean for the future? With a historically dominant 4-1 start, tying a 96-year-old record right out of the gate, how far can this USMNT go in Group D? If they can execute a flawless first-half blitz like we saw today, rest their stars, and still find the finishing touch deep in stoppage time, the ceiling for this squad feels absolutely limitless. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes locked on this team because history might just be getting started.